The Bucks have tried everything to keep Giannis satisfied, but it's just not effective. Dealt away selections, restructured the lineup to fully commit to their future, but now the decisions are beginning to unravel. The group is at an impasse while Giannis continues to send ambiguous messages. One day he desires to triumph, the next day he prefers to remain. It's so terrible that people have lost their concern. Simply choose already, man.
Can you believe that Sean has a report on the possibility of Giannis leaving the Bucks once more? People's responses include, Giannis moving from Milwaukee is the latest version of Ben Simmons at the gym. Therefore, an MVP star could request a trade. And others might respond, who really cares? Why?
Due to Giannis being indecisive. However, eventually he will need to. If he delays too much, he could exhaust all his options completely, since the teams willing to go all in for Giannis won't wait indefinitely. For instance, if a guy aimed to be a Rocket, that's no longer the case.
They continued on, friend. Hey, the more Giannis delays, the more this resembles a career-ending blunder that we've witnessed in the past.
To grasp why this moment poses such a risk for Giannis, it's essential to examine the current state of the Bucks, not what they once were, but what they have turned into. At this moment, their third strongest player is Kyle freaking Kuzma. Cole Anthony could be their starting point guard. Who specifically? Kuzma has been awful for many years. Indeed, they did sign Miles Turner, but we have witnessed Giannis playing with a sparse lineup in the past. The man has been among the top 2 players for about 7 years, but has recently achieved nothing. Thus, the team remains far from being a championship contender, even with the addition of Miles Turner. But do you realize what people rarely discuss? When discussing the reasons for the team's poor performance. A mixtape account recently shared this video featuring Chris Middleton's clutch shot making during the 2021 playoffs. Did you observe that each clip is a remarkable dagger, and that the video lasts 4.5 minutes? Pictures after pictures of the most overlooked co-star in the NBA. The guy was their reliable scorer in critical moments. Many overlook that Middleton tallied 40 points in a crucial finals matchup, sinking shot after shot. Giannis completely trusted Chris to finish games. However, during the second game of the 2022 opening round, he drove left in the fourth quarter, anchored his leg, and strained his knee. Always different from now on. That moment could have concluded this iteration of the Bucks. The following year, they acquired Damian Lillard, but currently the Bucks have no picks until the 2030s. If Giannis expresses his desire for the Bucks to win, they have consistently committed all their resources each year to ensure his satisfaction. And by the way, it succeeded in 2021, claiming a championship. However, every action taken afterward has only deteriorated to such an extent that if they take another step now, it will achieve nothing at all. If this guy truly wants to succeed, what is he waiting for? You clearly require an exchange. However, this is precisely the error we have encountered previously. Giannis has truly witnessed this end a career right before his eyes. However, prior to discussing that, what is the other option, correct? Some stars prefer to remove the band-aid quickly, and history indicates this approach leads to victory. Kevin Durant believed that Oklahoma City was a cul-de-sac with Russell Westbrook and Billy Donovan as the head coach. He departed in 2016 to secure 2 championships with Golden State. The same applies to Anthony Davis, who left New Orleans and won the championship in 2020. Even Kawhi Leonard secured a championship his first season after leaving San Antonio. What other similarities do all those individuals share? They all were despised after the relocation. KD and Denquise straight antagonists in their former neighborhoods. And that is what Giannis fears. He doesn't wish to play the villain. And I completely understand. Giannis is a faithful guy, particularly considering his upbringing. However, the truth is that it's impossible to have everything. You either desire victory so intensely that you'll do whatever it takes, or you stay committed but sacrifice possible championships later on. Can you believe Giannis states, if there's a better chance for me to win the Larry O'Brien elsewhere than Milwaukee, I have to seize that opportunity? However, that same individual states, I don't believe I could ever message and request a trade. I'm not really that type of person. They would need to remove me. What? Decide what you want. It seems like he desires both. He aims to pressure the Bucks into a situation where they are the ones requesting the trade. In that manner, he might say, oh, I departed from the team, but I didn't intend to. I am devoted. The team was the one that wanted me gone. Negative. What would motivate them to act that way? Indeed, dealing Giannis would acquire numerous assets for rebuilding. We just discussed how they're somewhat at a standstill, yet reconstruction is no longer what it once was. Simply observe the Jazz, the Wizards, and the Nets. All reconstruction from resources they received from star trades. And they all are terrible, Utah in particular. All right, they have 2 standout players, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, yet they're far from contending for a title. What reason would the Bucks have to be that? So no, Giannis, you'll need to play the villain. However, we have witnessed this particular narrative unfold previously. A superstar who aimed to maintain loyalty and legacy, who hesitated too much, and by the time he finally sought his chance, his opportunity had already passed. Dame Lillard warranted a title, didn't he? Oh, the Blazers are really a terrible team. The front office struggles to support him effectively. All right, yes, we all are in agreement. Hence, depart. However, he desired to be Mr. Fidelity. Then one day, he began subtly sharing passive-aggressive remarks on IG. Recall, what duration should I maintain my commitment while referencing Nipsey Hussle? It's as if, bro, be quiet. All right, either request a trade or don't bother. It brings Giannis to mind, doesn't it? However, when Dame finally departed, it was already too late. If he had departed, by the way, 2 years prior, teams such as the Sixers, Celtics, Heat, Raptors, and Nets possessed more selections and flexibility and were actively seeking stars. However, by 2023, numerous ones had either pledged to an alternative core or they did not possess the resources that Portland desired. In 2023, Dame indeed requests a trade at 33 years old with 4 years and $216 million remaining on his contract. How many teams genuinely wanted to spend a fortune on him at that time? The more he delayed, the more the Blazers focused on return rather than his preference. Dave had no control over his direction. Picture if Lillard had requested a trade during his peak years. He waited now. He lacks loyalty and championships. By the time he finally asked, he had taken too long and the league had progressed. The ideal options were no longer accessible. That's exactly what we're observing with Giannis. A team such as the Rockets possesses a young core, clearly a wealth of assets, but decided to acquire Kevin Durant. I suppose it's likely that Giannis has a strategy. Perhaps there is a team next year that he hopes to join. The Warriors, for instance, still possess numerous picks. Brandon Podziemski for a trade next year. And perhaps it resembles Jonathan Kuminga as well, or the Raptors. They planned to retain him in the East. While they have a strong roster, there is no elite talent until he shows up. Kudos to the Knicks, too, who possess a strong roster and valuable picks. Thus, Giannis need not depart today. However, if he truly wants to win, he must behave accordingly, as this persistent inconsistency has worn everyone out. Sean's reports indicate that Giannis might still seek a trade, and nobody is interested because Giannis aims to satisfy everyone, which is precisely how you end up with nothing. Therefore, the Bucks have exhausted all their options. Now it's Giannis' chance to truly score one. However, another topic that arises every offseason apart from Giannis is NBA expansion. We've discussed it for years. 2025 was meant to be the significant year. However, just like that, the NBA has halted expansion. No additional teams. But what caused them to shift from assured growth to an unlikely outcome almost overnight?